Hello, welcome to today's practice in pregnancy yoga. Pregnancy yoga is really specially developed to help support and nourish your body during this time. And it's really a practice that is rooted very much in choice. And at this time where you are at your most intuitive, finding ways through your practice that feel really nourishing and supportive for you is the best. So today's practice, we're going to focus quite a bit around the area of the hips in order to create a little bit of mobility and stability in this area, and just to ease any tension or pain that you might be holding in that space. And it's also a time for you to connect deeply with your baby. And yeah, I hope you enjoy today's practice. If you need anything to support you today, like blocks or cushions, please feel free to go ahead and grab them now. And then let's head on over to the mat. Okay, let's take these first few moments just to connect inwards. So if you have a couple of blocks or maybe a couple of cushions that you can sit onto, we're going to go ahead and come into a kneeling position to begin with. So I quite like this. It supports a sort of lift through the hips, allows my pelvis to be quite mobile here. So you can find that kind of neutral curvature through your spine. So you're not over tipping forward, creating a really deep bend into your lower back. You're somewhere neutrally. There's a kind of opening and broadening across the collarbones. And you might go ahead and close your eyes here. As you breathe in, and you sense into this kind of uplift and lengthening through the in-breath. So it's as though the breath rises up through your center, lifting you a little bit taller. And then as you exhale, gently grounding you down through your sitting bones. Go ahead and slide your left hand to the center of your chest and your right hand to wherever you feel your womb space is, wherever the center of that is. And your left hand slightly to the left in the direction of your anatomical heart space. Take another breath in, feel that uplift through the in-breath. And as you exhale, gently bring your left ear in the direction of your heart, as though you're kind of gently listening out to the whispers of your heart. Breathing in, feeling that uplift. Exhaling, breathing down into your heart, as though you're taking your focus out of the kind of thought space into the deep felt sensation of your heart space. And then as though there is a river from your heart to your womb space, sending messages of love, care, generosity down into your womb space. Good. Okay, gently start to bring your head back through to center. And then we're going to take the palms out in front. And you can open your eyes now if that feels right. And just stretch through the fingers and let this be the in-breath. So this stretching, opening through the palms. And then as you exhale, fold your thumb in and curl each consecutive finger around your thumb, and then turn it out and take a little stretch through the wrists. You breathe in, the palms turn up and open out, a little stretch through the palms. And as you exhale, the thumb, fingers follow, and take a little stretch through the wrists. We'll do a couple of rounds of that, breathing in, opening out through the palms, exhaling, curling in. If you ever feel uncomfortable in this kneeling position, you can always change your positioning. Just coming back to a place of comfort, and we'll do a couple more breaths like this. We're stretching the wrists, as well as connecting breath and movement. Good. Okay, we'll gently let that go. And let's move on over onto our hands and knees. So you can kind of roll forward to your hands and knees. Keep your block somewhere handy. And just take a moment here just to at least set yourself up. So you might like to take a little bit of a wider base, depending on kind of where you are at in your pregnancy. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Find a little bit of movement, a little shifting of weight back and forth, side to side, just kind of feeling into the different distribution of weight from hands to knees. And then can you shift the weight up towards your left hand and then over towards your right, and then back towards your left knee, over towards your right. And so you're kind of making this sort of figure of 8 with this transitioning of weight style movement. Just feeling into that, moving around, the hips kind of circle a little bit around the feet. And you can become a little bit, more exaggerated with your movement as you swoop the hips back behind, shift the weight forward and around. See what feels nice. And then we'll change the direction. So first we were starting with the left, now we'll start with the right, back and around. Just finding that nice sense of ease and movement. There's a beautiful little black cat outside my window. It's hard not to be distracted. Okay, and then you might turn this movement into more of a circular movement through the hips. You feel this kind of easing out the space around the hips. And then you could take it in the other direction, circling around. Nice. Make sure your wrists feel okay. You can always walk your hands a little bit further out in front. You can even come onto your fists for a little while just to kind of change the distribution of weight. Don't get too wrist heavy. Good. Okay, come back through to center. Let's lift the right leg up into the air. So sole of the foot presses upward. Knee is bent. Hips are more or less level. And then we're going to make circles with this hip. So rolling around. And again, these can be bigger or smaller. This feels right. So you feel your glutes start to activate here a bit. And then change direction. Good, and we'll gently release that, but step the right foot forward to the outer edge of your right hand, and then we're going to circle around here a bit. You could start connect your breath with your movement a little bit more, so you might breathe in, come forward, exhale, move back. And again, it's kind of about finding a sense of fluidity and tuning into, what feels good in your body. So it might be smaller movements, might be slower movements. Again, it kind of depends where you're at in your pregnancy and how today has kind of arrived for you, and what's going on for you in this day in your body. Good. And then we'll step back with that foot. It might be nice to find a little side to side movement just to kind of steady out any sort of feelings of difference from one side to the other, any tension. And then we'll lift the left foot up. So sole of the foot reaching up. Find a little bit of balance here. And then we'll start those circles. Circling around. And I get a little click in this left hip for some reason. Okay, and then changing direction. Opening out. And then step that foot forward. And again, just finding this nice kind of rhythmic rotation through the hips. Your choice. You come as far forward as feels good, as far back as feels nice, slow as feels interesting. Tuning into your intuitive sense. Good, and then we'll swoop that foot all the way back. Okay, step your left foot back so you come onto the ball of the toes, and then we're gonna swoop this right foot out to the side, so out to the right. And then step that left foot so that's kind of in line with your right knee. And then we'll reach this left arm all the way up and around. So we're just making these circles. Down and around, opening up. And it might be that you open the chest a little bit more as you lift. You could turn the chest a little bit more as you come down. Again, just kind of looking for something that feels interesting, right? We're generally taking this arm through a kind of rotation. But if it feels nice to rotate the torso a little bit while maintaining stability down through the lower body, that could be nice. And you could go the other way as well. You could follow the hand with your gaze. See what feels good. Nice. Okay, gently come back through. We'll do the other side. Press back, spin the left foot out to the side, switch it around. And again, this right arm just making rotations. Opening out through the side of the body. Pressing into that outer edge of that back foot. So you kind of feel that sense of length as well. Good, gently come back through to center. Then we're gonna walk the feet back, the hands back to the knees. So we're in this kind of little kneeling position. Take the hands onto the fronts of your shins. Place the hands onto the ground and lift the knees, and then place the hands onto the shins. So we're in this little kind of squatting position. Take the feet as wide as you need them to be. And then we'll take a slow press into the ground through the feet to lift all the way up through to standing. And if you like, you could take a big gathering in of the arms, reaching up. You could look up, lengthening through both sides of the body, and then exhale, hands come in front of the chest. Soften through the shoulders, soften your gaze, soft bend through your knees, feet as wide as you need. And then we're going to step into just like a comfortable stance. So again, your feet might be narrower or wider, see what feels nice in your body. And then go ahead and place one hand to the front of your womb space, or the center of your womb space, and the other hand onto your sacrum, so you're sort of below your lower back area here. And then you're going to imagine that you sort of have like a kangaroo tail or a dinosaur tail, one of those that's like heavy, goes down, and then has like a little flick up at the end. So you feel that kind of weightedness down and through. And you feel that maybe as a little bit of a broadening of your sacrum area. And then you'll draw your tail slightly under, like the way a dog would bring its tail under the body. It's going to lift up the front of the pelvis and then move it back again. So we're going to curl under and back. So you can feel that as a little bit of activation through the glutes as we come forward, a little squeeze, and then back, broadening through the sitting bones. Curl under, a little squeeze. You can lift your chest a little bit, relax your shoulders in this one, and then back, and moving between those two movements. So this might be really subtle and small. And then if you like, you can make it a little bit more of a circle. So you go back and around. It's like you're kind of circling around the pelvis, or maybe even around your womb. Moving around. So going from kangaroo tail to tail tucked under and around. Good. So you should feel that a little bit through the legs, through the glutes. Nice. Okay, moving on to our next movement. Take the hands to the sides of your hips. Feet could be maybe a little bit wider for this one if that feels nice. And we're going to do like a little smiley pelvis. So we're going to tip the hip up to the left side. So you kind of create this like the half of a smile, like a smirk. And you're bending into your right knee. And then drop up and over to the opposite side. So it's kind of lifting of the hip. We'll alternate between those two. Lifting up, so you're smiling the hips across. A little smirk to the left, a little smirk to the right. kind of think about like the hula, like in Hawaii. And it's really nice for the lower back. Good. Okay, we'll do a couple more each side. And feel it working through the legs as well. And the sides of the hips. Okay, bring it back through to a neutral space. And then we're going to circle around one foot and then the other. So I think about this like a figure of 8. Circling around. You can move the hands with it if you like. So you kind of make this kind of flowing, a little bit like seaweed in the ocean, kind of swaying with the waves. And then change direction. So whichever way we were going before, just the other way. Nice soft face. You could even have your hands onto your womb space in Yoni Mudra. Yoni Mudra is thumb and first finger touching. This is the mudra of your womb. Nice, and then gently come back through to center. Just finding stillness here for a moment. Relax your shoulders. Soft breath in through the nose. Breathing out and down all the way towards your heels. And then stepping to the back of the mat if you're not already there. We're going to slide the hands down, the fronts of the thighs, bend into the knees, and we're going to walk all the way back out into your downward facing dog. Now, if downward facing dog doesn't feel like you want to be doing that today, you're going to come into a kneeling down dog. Stretch the arms forward. Keep the sitting bones moving down and back. Length through the spine. Breathing here or in your downward facing dog. You can find a little bit of movement in your down dog. Deep breaths into the belly. So you're stretching out through the side bodies here as well. And then walking the hands all the way back in. We'll sink the hips back to the heels once more and then come over onto one hip or the other. And then we'll bring one foot out in front and have the other foot folded back behind if that feels all right. It doesn't really matter how you have your back toes. So they might be folding back, they might be pointing forward. See what feels nice in this 90-90 position. And then you're just going to engage that left glute, lifting and lowering. So you're working into the deep piriformis muscle. Couple back and forth. So really try to make the movement come from that glute. So it's almost like you squeeze, engage, let it go. And you do a few of those. Hip piriformis is really important. Hip stabilizer. We're both working to mobilize and stabilize the pelvis. Good. Okay, let's swap sides. You can use your hands to support you. Bring that foot out in front and swap over. So again, just feel this movement initiate in that right glute this time. Hands can be wherever feels comfortable. Yeah, you could use your hands to support you a little bit. Maybe hands on the knees. We're just doing this little like lift of the back hip. And it might feel really different from on one side compared to the other. You might feel more easily able to engage with one side compared to the other. It's just a point of interest, curiosity, rather than having any judgment attached to that, right? Just noticing, observing. Let's do a few more. Really feeling that glute switch on to lift you. Nice, okay, gently release. Okay, we'll take a final moment here, placing one hand to the center of your chest, so your yogic heart space, anahata. And then one hand onto your lower belly, your womb, the center of your womb. Maybe closing your eyes and imagining that heart-womb river again as you breathe down to the heart and feel that breath flow into your womb. Nourished by your own breath, baby nourished by your breath. Taking palms to touch if that feels right, and we'll gently bow forward just a little bit, just to offer each other thanks and gratitude. I thank you so much for joining me in today's practice, and I hope to see you soon.